Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. Hang out, this nerd.
Nerdarchy's Ted.
And today we're gonna bathe in the afterglow of our session 0 for our Open Legend game that's coming up.
Jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter. Get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Merely hours ago, ran a session 0 for the Open Legends game we plan on running, and affectionately in my mind, I'm referring it to the world of Feastaronia.
Feastaronia, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm super excited by some of the things, other than a minor racial tweak, which wasn't a big thing for me. Like everything I'm asking
You
for.
make it sound scandalous when you put it that way.
It was literally a vote on Goblin or Kobold. So it's like I was leaning towards Goblin just because I had a picture in my mind, but honestly, that part was not really important. It was about me playing a diminutive race that could easily be bullied into servitude.
Down with the green. But we came up with another race to bully.
Kobold.
It's Kobolds.
So, alright, I'm playing a Kobold. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what our Kobolds look like. There's some, like, they're between a World of Warcraft Kobold and the 3.5
right.
Kobold. Maybe when you guys will draw it for us, that would be freaking amazing.
Well, as long as, Bill says as long as it can have a beard.
We could take out a second mortgage on our house and have Crystal draw it for us.
as long as it could have facial hair, Bill didn't care. And I wanted, more scaly, not more rat-y kind of a kobold. So
I kind of want to give it like almost like fur on like the elbows and around the face a little bit and maybe around the knees a little bit.
I don't want so much like the horns like they had on some of the 5e stuff, but some of the older kobolds that that they've got like the scaly bumps. I'm cool with, and there's reason for it, and I'll get into that when I do more character delving. That's going to be hilarious.
So the game is very Arcana punk and less steampunk. I think we kind of like, because the way we came up with the game was we let our patrons vote. And, I had a list of genres, and I picked, like, two of them, I believe 2 or 3 of them, two of them got 10 votes, one got 13.
Fantasy and horror was tied for second at 10. Steampunk was the clear winner at, like, 13. And then, at, like...
Spy espionage was a 9.
7 or 9.
It was a 9. So I was like, and those numbers might even be skewed. It might have been 11s and a 10. But regardless, I'm like, instead of just going, okay, one winner, I'm like, well, how can I take some of these ones that are close and do something
shove it
in a blender and do something interesting with them? So, our steampunk, when you infuse it with the fantasy becomes a little more Arcana punk, yet it's not really like, it's not like Eberron.
Right.
Where it still is more technologically driven, and I'm borrowing from Eberron, and I'm borrowing from the Aeronauts Windless from
Jim Butcher.
From Jim Butcher. When I had pitched the idea a little bit in one of our weekly live chats that we do is the group Nerdarchy, not to be confused with the daily live chats that we do Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time. Commercial. Someone had mentioned that Aeronauts Windless, and absolutely, I'm definitely stealing some inspiration from there. I like the idea that people don't go down to the surface. I'm doing flying cities instead of towers. The spires, the towers, and I'm kind of building my airships are a little bit closer to Eberron airships than they are to steampunk airships, where they tend to be zeppelins. Mm-hmm. But even then, they're still a little bit different, and I like the idea of Ether. I'm stealing from Aeronauts Windless, but that being said, Jim Butcher didn't actually invent it, so
right.
So I'm stealing from whoever he stole from, whoever they probably stole from, And the idea is Ether is like our world, this world's magic, and it's everywhere, and certain things can harness and bring that out. So our airships have what are called ether struts, and the ether struts actually allow it to glide through the ether and hold, basically hold it up and give it its buoyancy. And the cities are kind of built the same way, and they got these turbines that actually create electricity to power the city. So like it's this magical effect that creates this technological effect. So I'm trying to mix it up, and then we're inventing some new classes or archetypes, I should say, to go with it, which some of them we didn't even really touch on at all, because I'm definitely doing like a Cthulhian Great Old One version of like a warlock, as well as a cleric. And if you use your powers too much as that warlock, you definitely move right into the cleric aspect. Because this is a classless system, you can absolutely do that. I was talking to Doug on the way over, and we're throwing some things back and forth. But I'm actually adding some new stats to the open legend game.
We got corruption and insanity.
Yeah, well, there's an insanity rule, but I'm going to just call the insanity ether, and then when it starts to affect you, then it's going to affect your insanity. So the way they work is, so this system is classless, and you have like attribute points or whatever, and like first level 5 is like your high you can get. Well, the idea is if you take a descriptor and put it on top of any of your other powers, because you have powers, and I'm going to require a descriptor, and if you use the ether one or the old one, then you automatically get the attribute of ether or corruption, and it starts at 1 automatically just by having a description, and then it goes up by 1 for every 2 points that you put in those attributes as your main.
Mm-hmm.
So at first level, you could have an ether score of 3. And what that's going to do for you, the rules are free. I'll put a link in the description below to the Open Legend rules so you guys can check them out if you want. But what that's going to do for you is if you have a score of 3, you can put advantage 3 whenever you power something by ether. Doing that, though, the danger is you're going to have to make saving throws after you complete the effect. And that saving throws will determine whether or not you gain insanity. And the same thing for corruption. Well, so you can actually be a lot more powerful than other people in the game, but there's a risk. And at some point, I might just say you have to turn your character over now, because you've gone past being playable.
Right.
So there are some of my thoughts on that. And I've kind of figured out how I want to do it, and I'm going to add this extra mechanic that breaks the game a little bit.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with breaking the game a little bit.
And then the other thing is like. I want the powers to be in there. At the same time, I don't want it to feel like a superhero game either. I want it to be more grounded in I don't want to say reality, but
in fantasy. You want it grounded in fantasy. As silly and ridiculous as that statement might sound, you want it grounded to a level that is a norm for D&D players.
Right. Or if you're talking superheroes, more like street level crime fighters.
Right.
Than your Thors and your Spider-Mans.
Yeah, you're looking at, Wolverine, Daredevil kind of level.
Yeah, even below Wolverine probably. Depending on which iteration.
Well, I mean,
he's pretty godlike.
Beyond the unkillable, he's not really possessed, and some of the times his ability is like, okay, well, he got put down. He doesn't always get right back up.
Yeah, sometimes it takes 30 seconds. But so there's that things, and we came up with some stuff. So what are your impressions? That's what this video is about.
I'm really excited. I kind of was tooling around since our conversation yesterday, trying to envision my character, and I'm certainly going with the Etherficer, the tinkerer idea. I see this guy as a mechanic, and as I had said, I want him bullied, so I want him definitely looking down upon himself as a lesser race, because that's what he's been shown his entire life. And it's the things that he knows how to do. It's a knack. It's not something he's been trained in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of amusing.
So real quick, right? So there's like 13 floating cities. 12 of them you can pretty much visit. One is a little complicated, and like there's going to be a city that's kind of like dedicated to each race, and then most of them will be kind of mixed. Well, you're gonna like eventually like end up at the Kobold City and be like, oh my god, I'm not lesser.
Well, yeah. Well, that will be amusing when that actually happens. But I mean, I imagine him, hatched or born on, one of the other cities, and
Born to a lower caste.
right, and he's born to a lower caste and used to that. So it was just like this. That is his mindset. So I really, while I know this is a serious game, I wanted to kind of add a little bit of a funny twist to it. So whoever he's having as who he served, whether it be while the game is still going on or before the game goes on, it's been drilled into him, and the guy's a masochist or sadist, whatever the proper term is. He wanted to humiliate and insult his worker, his slave, whatever it was. So he thought it'd be amusing to put a set of bunny ears on him and call him Bunny. So that's the name I'm going with. And
does he have the bunny ears?
He does.
Oh my god.
So like he's kind of accepted it that like if he takes it off that he's going to get in trouble. So like maybe it'll come out and have things happen
and I thought Megan's character was going to be the crazy one.
Well, he's silly. He's not crazy.
He's wearing bunny ears. He's freaking nuts.
I don't know. I just thought it'd be an interesting little role play twist to work with. If you're not digging it, I don't necessarily have to do it.
I will not take your bunny ears from you. Well, I might in game. Put out a game, I won't take them from you. Yeah, but speaking of silly, literally, I feel like the game was about this far away from becoming an RPG sports game. We like invented a sports game, sports game.
Etherball.
That the cities play. And I feel like the players were like really invested in it, and they were about to make a team.
I enjoyed the creation process of the game. I was not leaning towards trying to be a player in the game. If I had my direction, I was definitely gearing towards the we're the ones that go down to the surface and get resources. I thought that would be a cool thing to do, but that could also be very normal D&D-esque.
Yeah.
Other than we've got to compete with the other towns doing the same thing. That didn't really get the espionage spy angle into it. So I'm glad it went in another direction.
But you guys could also do the aeronaut things. You guys could own a ship. Like,
right.
That's on the table too. Like,
right.
That could be fun as well, depending on what you got, how you guys want to do it. I mean, although I have to go through the chat and find out what else I can pick out of there, but. Aeronauty was one of the secret societies.
The
Ethernauty was one of the secret societies, and I think you guys decided you were going to belong to it.
Yeah, that was absolutely the
consensus.
The consensus.
Yeah, so far it's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a human knight character that's kind of anti-ether. We're going to have an elven ethermancer that I have a feeling is going to be batshit crazy, but I could be wrong. We're going to have a kobold tinkerer. Then we're going to have a kobold psychic soldier as well.
And a human performer, which I actually believe Doug is, according to what I heard, I think he said he's playing a female.
He is. He absolutely is.
So I'm going to ask that he put on a wig.
Maybe.
Megan's already wearing the ears, so I don't think it's far-fetched for me to ask Doug to put on a wig.
Well, we'll see what happens.
So
he's going to be playing a black woman, so he's got to get one of the Afro wigs. That would be awesome.
Okay,
but I don't know. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. It's looking like it's going to be a fun game. We still have some details that have to be hammered out. Hopefully, we're gonna do a second part to the session 0 and flesh things out. This one we kind of we nailed down what the players are going to play. Some of the things about the world, some of the elements in the game. I think we need to delve a little bit deeper into session 0 stuff. So far, the only thing we've kind of done is for what I consider session 0.
We did world building and character ideas, concepts, yeah.
And then the idea that you guys are going to belong to this organization. So we're going to have to flesh out what the goals of that organization is. Why you're in it. One of the players might actually be infiltrating the organization based on you know, how they were, you know, how their character kind of
Well,
sounds.
I've already been at odds against Ty as both players before, so that's not covering new ground. So we need to have this be a communal, everyone's on board for the actual mission. I don't want every time I play with Ty to have to be like we're at odds.
How many times? It's only been once, right?
Well, yeah, but that's every time.
Oh. Well, there is that. And then I've always been the GM for Ty, so I've always been at odds with him too. So.
Well, no, he was on your side.
Oh, this time that's true.
So for you, it will be different if we get him on board.
Well, I played a couple games with the Ty. So.
Oh, okay.
He was also in one of my Eberron games. Oh, you know what? I wonder if you were in that game. You might not have been. He played a crazy steam powered mage gnome character.
I don't
in a one shot like 2 years ago, people. So if Ted doesn't remember, I'm not really surprised.
So yeah, the Eberron games. I remember playing my elven bard and my gnome. No, the gnome illusionist wasn't Eberron.
No, that wasn't.
Gav.
But that being said, you know, so what other impressions and other ideas are you thinking about? I know you brought up like, hey, we have to. Apparently, there's this broken seal we have to fix, but we don't know about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would definitely character arc wise, I want him to start off as he views himself as nothing more than a slave. I want him to be able to get out from under that guy's thumb.
Which is really weird because we haven't even established there's slaves in this world.
Well, it could be slavery. It could be indentured servitude. It could be, well, I was sold to this one guy and he, you know, slavery isn't accepted, but if he's never let out into the wide world to know that he can't do this, like... You know,
he was actually never a slave. He just doesn't know it.
So, like, I want him... I like the concept of this guy, you know, fighting out of his repression. I haven't done that before. And for this particular world set, I think it fits. But I'd like to see him go off and explore. I'm interested in, you know, what could possibly be a mega dungeon crawl in the, you know, in the destroyed city, the 13th city, and I'd like to explore the world below to see what of the theories that your players and fans put forth as why it happened. So I'll actually call this out to you guys. You know, Dave wants us to put forth why did the populace leave the surface? And he wants as many crazy theories as possible. So did they leave because the world down there is destroyed? Are there monsters? Is it fine? Are the 12 or 13 cities, did they leave because of some kind of revolt? You know, any number of different things are possible. And until we get down to the surface, we don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know how congruent and this video is and if it makes sense to you guys watching it. I will put a link either in one of the cards or in the description, maybe both, for you guys if you want to check out the actual live chat we did the stream, so you can see like us going through the process and talking about stuff where we delved into certain things a little more in depth, and there's other things we probably aren't even covering it or in that as well. Yeah, I just figured I would do an aftermath real quick with Ted. We just did it. It's fresh in our minds. By the time this goes up, there will actually be like a second one that well, maybe not. This one might come out first, but right around close, like next week, we're going to do a second one where we flesh out the session 0 a little bit more of the world, and then we're going to start playing in it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I have to, you know, when I did play Open Legends with the game creator Brian Feaster, he came with pre-gens that we didn't actually have to go through character creation. So I got to learn enough to actually figure out how to make my kobold Etherficer, and I'm excited about diving into that. I don't know what's all going to be possible and whatever have you, but it seemed like a pretty simplistic character creation design when I would think back to my character.
Yeah, I mean it's a D20 system. It's classless. It's fairly easy to pick up if you're familiar with D20.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that's open-ended on it, so you have to kind of like a lot of GM education, player restraint. All these things have to, you know, get involved for this game to run smoothly, I think. But fortunately for me, I got a lot of really good players, so this is probably going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fantastic, I guarantee it.
So that's coming up, guys. You can look for it in the future. Like I said, those links will be around for you guys to check them out.
They're
While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.